It is game day in Raleigh, North Carolina, as the San Jose Sharks head to the Lenovo Center to take on the Carolina Hurricanes. San Jose coming into the game 10-15-5, while Carolina hosting the record of 17-9-1. As we take a look at some of the numbers for the game, Carolina with a better power play at 29.5%. That's in comparison to 17.5% for San Jose. So really take a look at the penalty kill. San Jose hosting an 80.8% record, with Carolina having an 83.5% record on the penalty kill. So special teams should be in favor of Carolina. And then I'm going to pass it over to you. What do you see from these numbers that we are looking at so far?
I think it's like any game when we kind of take a look on the onset. It's like, how it really depends on what team shows up, how these are going to impact the game. So Carolina should be good if their power play's been doing better. They've been sort of not in I guess early season form on the penalty kill, but it's if those both turn and continue to grow in the right direction, then this should be it should be a favorable outcome for the Canes on that side of the game, on the special teams. I just think it really just depends on how the team starts and how the team plays, and what kind of a rhythm you get into. So we just want to make sure we stay out of the box, because we got to get into our rhythm early, get a feel for the game. And when you start taking a lot of penalties, then there's no flow to the game, and it gets really, really dicey on what the outcome is going to look like. So San Jose's, nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, they got some good quality young players, and they can make waves if we allow them to.
Yep, 100%. It is cool to see, though, Carolina being in the top 5 for both power play and penalty kill. I always like those two numbers. So we're second on the power play so far this season, or fourth in the penalty kill department. So as we do head over to take a look at the players to watch for San Jose, first name that pops off the chart right now, Michael Granlund, leading the team in points, 10 goals, 20 assists in 28 games, 30 points on the season. What a bounce back year he's had, and just great pace for him, especially on the San Jose team. Second player we're going to take a look at is Macklin Celebrini. The rookie has 15 points in 18 games, and I think every game he's just getting progressively better. So look for him to be a difference maker in this one. And then on defense, the pickup from the offseason this past year, Jake Wallman, 25 games played, 20 points. He's been the staple on that blue line for San Jose and has had a real resurgence in the offensive department coming over from Detroit. What do we need to see from these three guys, and what are you looking for Carolina to shut down the youngster and Celebrini and Granlund?
Well, like I said, I think if we get to our game early, then I could care less who they have on their squad. If our team's going, Celebrini's a great kid. He's great. I mean, really, really skilled player. Granlund, I mean, I like to see the guys that have been in the league a while that sort of coming back around and gaining their footing again with a new team.
He got his step back.
And it doesn't surprise me going to a team like San Jose that, he's getting a bigger role. He's getting more ice time potentially than he would have gotten somewhere else. And the same for a guy like Jake Wallman. I mean, they're coming from teams that had good depth at those positions potentially. Maybe not Detroit so much with Wallman, but I think it really just gives them the opportunity to get more reps. And as well as I do that a player, the more reps you get, the more comfortable you get, and the more confidence you get. So I think that's the biggest difference. And we just have, like I said, if we get to our game first, Granlund, Celebrini, I mean, we'll take them out of the game by just getting to our game and getting to our speed game quick. They're a fast team too. Don't get me wrong, but I think we have a lot more firepower up front than they do at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. San Jose, if they do win this game, it's going to be through the neutral zone and off of the rush. Carolina's been struggling with that mightily these past few games. So look for that to be a really big key factor, especially with a guy like Celebrini and even Will Smith. Both those guys have unbelievable speed. Even Granlund. Shoot, we're talking about those two guys. What about the leading point getter for San Jose? Unbelievable speed. And if you allow them to generate offense through the neutral zone, and we're sloppy in the neutral zone yet again, San Jose is going to come in and they're going to beat them. They're going to come in and they're going to beat Carolina if
Yep.
that's the case. Carolina's got to clean up the neutral zone significantly. We got to stop with the sloppy turnovers, and we just have to get back to playing Canes hockey below the goal line and an actual wave of pressure, and not just one wave coming through and one pass beats everybody and they're out of the zone through the neutral zone with speed, because that's what's been happening in the past three. So need to see more of the positive from Carolina, but the guys that we expect to make the difference in Carolina for this game. The first guy we're going to take a look at, Seth Jarvis, 18 points in 20 games played. He's been pretty much a point a game player since coming back from injury, which is exactly what we want to see from Jarvis, especially after getting named to Team Canada and the Four Nations. Congrats, hats off to him. But ever since then, I think he's been a more determined player, and I expect that he's going to be a big factor in this one. Another player to look at, Jesperi Kokaniemi. I think he's been on a hot streak as of late, 14 points in 27 games. Maybe not the point production he's looking for, but I think his game is starting to come around. And then on defense, Dmitry Orlov, 3 goals, 11 assists in 14 games. I think his game just keeps getting better and better. Look for him to be a difference maker tonight. I'll pass it over to you. What are you seeing out of these 3 guys?
Yeah, I'll start with Orlov. His game with Chatfield has been really steady and good all year. I just want to see him. He just needs to clean up his own zone a little bit. I think he's got good awareness when it comes to jumping into the rush, jumping in and creating a turnover in the neutral zone. But I want him to. He needs to clean up his own zone a little bit. He needs to make sure that he gets pucks out cleanly and make sure that he doesn't take too many risks coming through and doesn't gain our own blue line, our defensive blue line, because had a couple of turnovers and it led to a goal in the last game against the Islanders that was a direct result of a turnover in the D zone by Dmitry Orlov. So, the guy, I mean, Seth Jarvis he's such a dynamic player that getting him back into the lineup, it makes a huge difference. And I think he's had great nights all since he's come back. But I suspect you're going to see a good multi-point performance out of him and KK. I think he's, like I said, we've talked offline about him, and he's coming, he's developing, he's getting confidence again. I think I think we went at nauseum and on the last podcast, but I think he's definitely potentially in the wrong spot in the lineup as far as we can tell. He needs a little bit more opportunity. He needs a little bit more rope from Rod, whether he gives him that or not. But I suspect that he's going to have a good game against the Sharks.
Yep. And then we'll take a look at the starting goalies, or what we suspect to be the starting goalies tonight. We're both predicting that Dustin Tokarski sees his first game in Carolina against San Jose. It would be a great rest in order to get Coach Etkov off from Saturday until Thursday. Having time off would be a massive help, especially with the injury troubles he's been having. And then on top of that, Dustin Tokarski's been playing really well in the AHL. He's got NHL games under his belt. I suspect him to be the starting goalie for Carolina tonight. And then taking a look at San Jose, after just making a move to get Georgiev to San Jose, it was more probably a move of getting Blackwood to Colorado. I suspect that we see Vitek Vanacek in the pipes for San Jose. Vitek would come into the game 3-6-1 with an 8.83 save percentage and a 3.89 goals against average. I'll pass it over to you, Dad. What are we seeing, and what do we suspect out of Tokarski in his first start in Carolina, if we do predict it
Yeah.
correctly?
I don't know really, quite honestly. I mean, he's had a good stretch in the American League. He's got NHL experience, so he's been in the league before, so he knows the game at the pro level, at the NHL level. So I would think a guy like that it's obviously there's potentially some jitters coming out of the gate. If he is the starter, but I think he'll settle right in, and do exactly what we need him to do, and have a solid effort. So we just need to make sure that he gets, if he feels the puck early, make sure he's seeing the puck and not, getting a lot of traffic in front of him, which obviously San Jose is going to try to do. But we'll see. Like I said, I don't have a notebook on him, so I couldn't really tell you. I can only go with what you hear and see and read. But I think we got a good one, in a good backup in him. So, and as far as San Jose goes, I mean, Vanacek he's one of those. He's just so up and down. Not a great save percentage, but again, he's playing on a team that is maybe not as defensively strong as others.
Maybe not given the same run
Right.
support either.
So I think that's the trouble spot when you kind of try to judge a guy based on his body of work, and but I think he's one of those guys that when he played for I think it was New Jersey, he played well against us. So he understands our team. He understands our system. He's an East Coast or Eastern Conference guy. So, and I think at some point he was with the Capitals. And but I think he's sort of a wild card. And like I said, if we get to our game early and get traffic and get to him and start funneling pucks to the net, then I think we'll be just fine. So it's hard to say on on the goalie side. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't have a big notebook on anybody, but I think as long as the Canes get to their game and give Tokarski support in the D zone, we'll be just fine.
Yep. Just limit the breakaways. That's all I ask. But what would be your final score prediction for this one?
Wow, I tell you, it could, you know, I would say that the Canes are going to come out flying. I know. Last time I didn't predict that against the Islanders, but we're getting last change, and in this one being a home, and so I think we're going to get, it's going to get a little bit out of hand. I would say let me go with 6-1.
6-1. Okay. I'm going to predict a 5-2 game with an empty netter Carolina at the end. I think that San Jose will get their chances. Carolina still, until they prove me wrong, I still think that we're being too lackluster in the neutral zone. I don't suspect it's going to change overnight. I hope it does, but we'll see. But anyways, that'll be tonight's game. Lenovo Center, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. San Jose coming in to take on Carolina, and we will see you at the next game.